everyone, this is GT Time, and I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Quiet.
Daniel
Too quiet.
Bloodworth.
Hi.
And in the super seat this week, Ben Moore.
Hello.
And making this all happen, Ian Hink.
Hi. Hey, there we go. If you just take like 5 more seconds, and the lowers would be all perfectly timed out.
Okay, so I'll just like add more things to making this.
I
all
was trying to
happen.
add something.
Just let Jones
You were
say
upset.
his
You were
thing.
upset that I didn't have like an
Never
intro
try
quote.
to make that go faster.
Here's the thing, Brandon. You had a period. I heard it's quiet, and I'm like, okay, now I'll move on.
But I said it's
Too
too
quiet.
quiet right before we started the stream.
It's just another weird reference you're making that I probably should know.
Wait, you don't know it's quiet, too quiet?
That's actually not a reference to anything.
That's just
like
in the vernacular.
Yeah, I don't
that's
know
like
the source.
I've got a
Human
bad feeling
beings
about
say
this.
that,
It's
yeah.
just a thing.
Yeah.
It's just an expression.
Well, that's from Star Wars.
I love I've got a bad feeling about this. Like
That's from every Harrison Ford movie ever.
Right.
yeah. But if you like think about those words, like having a bad feeling is just such an interesting concept to
Yeah,
me.
Harrison Ford, Ready to be Born. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's said it in like every movie.
Just
Just like
in the womb.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum always says, "Must go faster, must go faster." He always says it twice.
Does he say that in more than one movie?
Yes, he says it in Jurassic Park and Independence Day.
That's so funny.
That's right.
He goes,
Oh,
"Must
boy.
go faster, must go faster."
And
Pretty
I
sure
bet-
it's twice both
I
times.
bet
too.
he thought he improvised it.
Yeah, maybe.
I bet the second time he did it, he thought
That's going to be a correction. Someone's going to post a clip
I'm
of that.
fairly,
Yeah,
fairly
fairly.
sure, but who knows?
Fairly
Yeah.
sure is correction time.
Ben, as the person in the super seat, we have a question for you.
Mm.
I'm really excited about this question. Immediate answer.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I think I can put a guess on it, but I won't.
Can you just give me a thumbs up if it was your correct,
Okay.
if the guess was correct?
So listeners, Brandon's thumb is primed to go up or down at any given moment. Ben, the question is, since it's summer, since everybody's on vacation, if you could travel to anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
Tokyo, Japan.
Are you kidding me? Like,
Most predictable answer ever, I suppose.
You just walk through Akihabara.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With your
Signs
must be
going
nice
past
grin.
on
Yeah.
either side.
Yeah, exactly.
Ben, I don't want to take anything away from your answer, but
Yeah.
we are 3 for 3 right now.
What do you mean?
On Tokyo being the place.
Oh,
I want to go.
really?
It was
Yeah.
last week too. That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Who was
Yeah.
the first one? Because it's Brad and him.
Elise.
Oh,
Elise,
he's
yeah,
going
yeah.
to go to Tokyo too.
Yep.
What a bunch of nerds.
So Ben, why do you
Tokyo's
want to go
pretty
though? Why do
awesome.
you want to go to
Tokyo
Tokyo?
rules.
You know, I got into games when it was still predominantly Japanese games, and so I sort of associate Japan with being responsible for this thing I love, and so I want to go to the place where it comes from.
The source.
Yeah, and I like other Japanese things as well. I love the food. I really like anime. All of this stuff. I have this vision of what Akihabara is like. Like you're walking down the street and NES cartridges are raining on your head, and they still got, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike cabinets like on every corner.
It is exactly like that.
Yeah, that's heaven to me. Like when I die, that's where I want to go.
Ben, my number one place is New Orleans in the world. I would rather you go to Tokyo. I'd rather send you to Tokyo than go to New Orleans.
I want to go so bad. Every single year when it's like, yeah, we're not going to TGS, my soul gets a little bit crushed.
Next year.
Next year.
What are you
Yeah,
doing?
next year's the year.
13 months.
You're in no position.
No one would watch this, but when I go to Japan,
Yeah.
I never do this. I'm not this kind of person, but I will videotape everything.
I will watch it.
I'll watch
Everything.
your videos.
And I'll
I will
just
sit through the whole
freak
saga.
out.
You could Periscope that?
Sure.
Yeah,
I
we'll watch it live.
Hey, I found this Chie statue. I'm going to talk about it for 10 minutes. That's what it's going to be like. It's just going to be hours of footage like
You
that.
will get a lot of weird looks, depending on what part of Tokyo you go to.
Make
But
a documentary out of
But
it.
I already get weird looks in America.
We should start corrections, though. Please begin. Corrections music. I'm using my phone this week. Okay, the 1-to-1 scale Gundam statue is in Odaiba, and it is permanent. It's not going anywhere.
This is why I want to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
That's so cool.
I think they moved that over there like very like one way or the other. Like either they had taken it down from where it was originally, right before I was there, or they put it up right at like I just
so you
missed it kind of thing.
You just missed the Gundam. It's still there, man.
It's like we couldn't even get a RoboCop in Detroit.
No.
Couldn't get a RoboCop statue.
Yeah. Have some fun, Detroit. Anyway, the developers of Dragon Quest XI turned off battles and removed the NPCs from the town to not give too much away. Oh, because we talked about how early the game looked, and it turns out those things were removed Fun fact, Yuji Horii will often give away more information than Square Enix wants him to. He did this several times during the conference and was warned multiple times by the producer not to or do certain things.
Awesome.
Love that.
Like audibly? Like
Yeah.
you could hear the guy and be like, no.
This is all from Sazanami style to explain those things.
Yuji Horii's a beautiful man.
Yeah, I love that idea of this guy, huge, high up, and the producer's like, no, stop it.
And
No,
he just
no.
he gets that smile. Like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. Toy Logic also worked on Dragon Quest X. Those shadows that were in the background, we talked about the little people, and I called them a 2D element. They were not at all. You could walk up to them, and they will be 3D actual people. Many people want to know why I didn't bring up the NX last week in regards to Dragon Quest XI. And the reason is Square Enix backpedaled after the conference and said it was simply in consideration.
And Nintendo was like, hey.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know. I think they said hush hush. I don't know. They said the games are being considered for NX, which makes me so nervous that like maybe even they're considering the portable one. I think they have no idea what the NX is, so there's not much to discuss there.
How ridiculous.
Or they don't know how to explain it, or
Yeah.
they don't know how not to explain it, you know. They don't know how to dodge the question.
Yes. And so anyway, that is why I didn't put it in last week's episode. So that's more of a clarification anyway. But please end corrections music. Whew.
Nice. Clean.
Let's talk. Y'all know my favorite way to start a show, right?
Right.
Yeah.
With game announcements. This week, to be honest, I thought we'd have more game announcements to talk about. We have two, but hey, there are two huge announcements. First of all, Halo Wars 2 was announced this week at Microsoft's Gamescom press conference. Did anyone see this coming?
No.
No, I didn't expect it.
Ben certainly didn't. He's shaking his head.
No. Like, Microsoft didn't have to do this. Halo Wars 2 doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something you expected a follow-up from. No one was like, guys, it's happening, it's coming, just wait for the announcement. And I think it's cool. I think Halo Wars was a really, really smart translation of RTS stuff on consoles. It needed a sequel. Like, I'm curious to see where this goes. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves. The only thing I'm worried about is that Creative Assembly is working on it. Not that they don't have the capability of doing it. It's just they're working on so many things.
That's not getting ahead of ourselves. We should
Okay.
say that Creative Assembly announced as the developers. They do the Total War games. Did Alien Isolation last year. So yeah, that's a developer, which is crazy because they're owned by Sega, and it's just like these are the people who are working on this huge game, who make their own huge games that they make their own money off of. What do you think Creative Assembly gets out of this?
They get to work on a Halo game. I mean, it's
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a win for them.
It's kind of a sad state of affairs, but I mean, after the shutdown of Ensemble Studios, what other people that make these type of games really exist? You know,
Ensemble made Halo Wars, the original. And what was
Ensemble
weird is
Studios.
they announced they were shutting down that studio before the game even came out.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I
Yeah.
don't remember that either.
Yeah, that's how the timeline worked for that. It was brutal.
Okay.
And so yeah, even like the game Halo Wars 1 did okay. You know, it broke 1 million. It didn't bomb, but it didn't, it wasn't up to Microsoft's Halo standards. So, Brandon, do you think they have more realistic standards for Halo Wars 2?
What I'm waiting for is there's something to this game. There's going to be some mode or something, the Windows cross something. Like there's some reason why someone came up, like why this was kind of always a part of the conversation. Like I could see this as always ever since Halo Wars happened. This was always on the list. Like never scratched it off. But then somebody was like, oh yeah, we got that new tech, or we can do that with Windows 10. Ooh, Halo Wars 2. And it was like, oh, now is the time. Let's do it. So I think we're like waiting for that announcement, whatever. Or I am. I'm expecting something else some kind of functionality or some way. I've seen a lot of people getting excited or reminiscing about the multiplayer in Halo Wars, which I did. I wrote and cut the Halo retrospective, so like that was a part of it. And so like I went through and was like, oh, this story is actually kind of cool, and these cutscenes are gorgeous, and
Great cutscenes,
there were a lot
yeah.
of things. It was a fun game. It was fun to like run little vehicles around, like even just like on a 360 controller. So I'm like curious to see what the game's going to look like on new gen. Curious where the story's going to take it, where that's going to fit into everything, and curious what there's just got to be some other reason. Because they love talking about tech. Like at the press briefing, they came out and they were like, "I want to make sure you understand how the DVR works. Want to make sure you understand how the Windows 10 collaboration works." So I just don't think it's another huge entry. But then they do like spending tons of money on Halo, so who knows?
So, Blood, hear me out on this.
Okay.
Okay, so as Brandon just mentioned, yeah, this is announced for Windows 10 and Xbox at the same time. So when Bonnie Ross came out, head of Halo basically, I was and I heard that there's a Halo game getting announced for both. I was like, oh my goodness. And then that game turns out to be Halo Wars. I'm
Right.
like, okay. I almost think there's an A tier and a B tier of Xbox games. And the B tiers are the ones that they're allowing to go cross-compatible. And the A tiers are the ones that are like, no, you need an Xbox to play this. Is that like? Do you think that's accurate? Do you think this is a B tier game?
It seems pretty accurate. I mean,
Like Fable Legends is you can play that on both platforms. Killer Instinct you can play on both platforms. I think actually Gears of War Collection, the Ultimate Remake, the Ultimate Gears of War, you can play on both. But yeah, Forza, you need an Xbox to play Forza.
It's really interesting that you bring up Fable. Because where Fable the franchise is at, like I can say all sorts of things that were wrong with Fable 1 and 2 and 3, but like I still liked them. I still looked forward to them. I still enjoyed playing with them. I like the world. I like the aesthetic of those games. And so it's like, it bums me out that, as interesting and as positive as you can be about Fable Legends, like it is fun. Like when I played it and I was the guy making the gates come up and, lock everybody and releasing monsters and stuff, like I got a kick out of it, but I can't say it's where I want the Fable franchise to be right now. Mm-hmm. Where when she came out, she's like, here's a brand new Halo title. I was like, this is just sprinkles on a sundae right now. This is a total bonus cool thing because the series is clearly, charging right now. Like the multiplayer for Halo 5 looks great. So this was like a total bonus thing. So it is interesting that it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's leading that pack that you're talking about.
Yeah,
like,
well,
so
I mean, it kind of goes back to the
to B plus,
the Metroid Prime Federation Force argument. It was like
that's it.
It feels like a bonus if you're getting a real game.
This is Metroid right now.
Yeah. Whereas, if you're not getting that, then it's like, hey, what's going on with Fable right now, guys? Why is this the only Fable we're talking about? But I also think, number one, like with Windows 10, they're making such a big push talking about gaming, and they have to back that up. And also, as you said, like Halo Wars, as big as the name is, like Halo Wars on its own isn't going to push the needle that much, and so they have to get everything they can out of it. And they know that there's a huge market for RTS on the PC compared to the Xbox One. Even if people have both, like they're going to rather play the RTS on their PC.
I love the Ben Morse crunchy face. I love when someone's like saying something and like Ben's like, he's very polite not to interrupt, but he's just like,
what offended you, Ben? What
Oh,
happened?
it didn't offend me. It's just, you're right. I think you're technically right. But saying like there's a huge audience for RTS, that those things are not normally combined very much anymore.
So huge is probably where we'd call you out on that.
Is there growth there? Do you think? I mean, with the popularization of esports, looking at games, and granted, like Dota, League of Legends, Here's the Storm, they're not RTS. I'm not like trying to lump those two genres together, but like this the spectating portion of it, seeing the like momentum and just kind of this bird's eye view of the battlefield, and and commenting on that. Like, I wonder if this kind of push of MOBA popularity within the esports community and StarCraft coming out, like, is it possible, like fighting games, is it possible to get a resurgence there and have this genre come back?
I always felt like Halo Wars was not for people that love RTS games. It's for people that love Halo.
Sure.
This is another way to experience Halo. You don't get like top RTS players being like, guys, Halo Wars is the new hotness, because it's not for them, and it's not meant to be like that. You were talking about B tier games, and to me, Halo Wars 2 is something that makes the Xbox One interesting in a way that it hasn't been before.
How is that?
Like, it's just so out of left field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially after the closure of Ensemble, it was something you didn't think about. And it would be so easy just to have Halo be a first-person shooter until the end of time. I feel like, in a weird way, this is a risk, and this is them letting people, like, new hands get on it and kind of go crazy. And I think the Xbox One, in my opinion, needs more things like that.
Cool. So you're very encouraged by this announcement.
I am. I'm extremely encouraged. And it's weird because I don't expect it to revitalize the RTS genre, but I think it's unfair putting those expectations on it. Like, it's just going to be a fun Halo experience that is different from what you've played before.
Well, again, you were trying to figure out why now? Why did this get announced? I'm just curious if that's something that Microsoft does see happening. That there's a trend that they do see, that like this is a genre that's more popular, or just like, hey, we got to do something else for Halo, or we want to.
Yeah,
I mean,
I also think
Guardians.
there's that angle to it. I mean, they want there to always be a Halo conversation.
Sure.
And last year they had Master Chief Collection. This year they've got Halo 5. Okay, what's after
Nightfall.
Halo 5?
But honestly, it's kind of the game I was always waiting for Gears of War that never happened. Like, every time I experience Gears of War, I feel like I pretty much experience it the same way. Not that each game doesn't add new additions or new mechanics or, all of that stuff, but we've never experienced that setting in a totally different way.
I got a totally different way for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
And this is just pie in the sky, but this is something that I think about if this is a franchise now, if it's not just kind of like a fun, like ODST Reach, just kind of a
Right.
fun little experiment they did, but they're like, no, we want to there might be a, Halo Wars 3 in the future. If there was a game, and it doesn't even have to be like the reason these two games were built, but if they have some kind of shared mode where I can be on the ground as a soldier, as a Spartan running on
Yeah.
the field, or I can be a commander controlling the battlefield, huge win. If,
Right.
if you can build, maybe have the Windows 10 version of the game be more focused on RTS and have the Xbox One version of Halo, Halo 6 or
what's the
whatever.
That was
Like,
the
more
idea
focused
with
on shooting.
Dust, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where
Yeah, that was the dream
it
of
was
Dust.
You imagine the team behind Dust. That's not 343. That's not the experience these guys have, the money they have, or not necessarily the money they have, but the money that's being spent on the games that they're working on. Potentially, if they really want to make a big play with Halo, if they
Well,
really want to get PC gamers and console gamers playing together.
The only thing is if 343 said, this is our initiative, we're going to try to do this crazy new thing, I'd be really nervous because they couldn't successfully bundle 4 Halo games together.
Zing. But that was. But the more I think about that was just dealing with all these old games, and it seems like a neat concept. Because the thing is, it's like Master Chief Collection seemed like a concept that was a great idea on paper, and then they actually got into it and were like, whoa, this is really tough to pull this whole thing off, and it was too late, and they just kind of had to, the train came into the station, and that was the game. Whereas when you start something completely from scratch, when you go back with a new engine, Halo Wars 2, I think they can do it. I'm
It's a
actually
cool
excited
idea.
about this. I'm curious to
Yeah.
check it out. I love one thing we talk about trailer score a lot, and we're not going to trailer score this debut because it's so short.
Yeah.
But I love just the title. Boom. Just love the straight cut. It
Absolutely.
doesn't come slamming in. There's no big animation or anything. It just cuts straight to like Halo 2.
Yeah, it should be
Halo Wars
mentioned,
2.
I guess. It was announced with a CG trailer
Yeah.
that essentially had 2 shots. One person getting dragged away while firing a gun, and then a brute.
And then the Jiralhanai, I think they're called.
Oh.
Or Brute. That's like their name in the Covenant speak.
Wow, nice, man.
Yeah.
something-
Well, that's a tough word.
Yeah.
Once you remember to pronounce that, you never forget it.
Jiralhanai.
Jiralhanai. That's how I thought you pronounced it.
Something that Creative Assembly is well known for with the Total War games is you control hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of units at once, and you can zoom in and see
Yeah.
these battles happening on a very close personal level. Imagining that, but not with Roman soldiers or samurai, but with UNSC and Covenant,
Yeah.
is really cool. To
Well,
me.
just the first
Yeah.
shots of Total War Warhammer, even though I know nothing about Warhammer,
Right.
it's like, oh, this looks really cool with
yeah.
big crazy monsters going in.
Plot-wise, do we think this is a Covenant heavy game? That's definitely I think it's like the last things he says. He's like, run demons or run humans or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really the focus on him and this character who I might know if I had paid more attention to Halo Wars.
Just-
or novels as Halo tends to do. I wonder if that's kind of the, there will be, Spartans and whatnot in it, but the UNSC, but more of a focus on.
I don't pretend to speak for all Halo fans, but if you said, what factions do you want to control in a Halo RTS, to me it is Covenant and UNSC.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I care
No
about.
flood, please.
Yeah.
Please, no flood.
And oh man, what's the new one called?
The bad
Halo
guys
4
showing up.
Oh, like the Forerunners, right? No, the Forerunners made these new guys who are called the Protheans?
Yes.
Prometheans.
Cue correction.
I was thinking Prometheans, but no. Wait.
It might be Prothean.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should wrap it up before
Yeah,
we get
boy.
ourselves
Halo
in trouble.
4 is it's just a fog in my brain.
Exactly, yeah.
I played so much of that
very clear to
game.
us. Yeah.
You still have the fog of
But-
war for Halo.
I don't know. They open up. They got orange skulls. Let's talk about another game announcement.
fog of
The
Four.
Protheans.
Uh,
Sounds right.
It might be Prothean.
Okay.
Mafia
feel
3 officially revealed this week, was kind of announced last week. This week we see it. We announced with a CG trailer. However, after the CG trailer, I think we have a different impression. So basically, the CG trailer is kind of classy. Very low key narration, just vibes are cool. Revealing New Orleans.
It's interesting you use the word classy. I think it's intentionally not as classy as Mafia 1 or Mafia 2.
Sure,
He's not wearing a suit, he's
Yeah.
not he's listening to rock instead of a swinging 50s band, it's definitely kind of got a more streetwise kind of vibe.
But even paying for those music rights to me,
Sure, yeah,
it's just
yeah.
it's a different trailer from even Halo Wars 2.
Production
you know what I mean?
value wise, it's a classy trailer.
Yeah, But then in screenshots and gameplay videos we see from the show floor, Mafia 3 is a very action-heavy game. Huber showed me this video of the cars just running into each other and exploding around you, which is very unlike Mafia.
Running up to a guy and just stabbing him repeatedly.
Yeah, just
In
like
the
right
face.
in the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
And then another one, he just like bashes his head into the side of the stairs.
Yeah.
I am absolutely terrified that they said to themselves, we have this thing lying around. Why don't we just do something with it? You know, it didn't come from a place of we need to make this game and we need to continue the Mafia legacy.
I don't know. I mean, is it?
I don't know.
It's the same
Yeah.
developer, isn't
No,
it?
no, no, no.
It's not.
No.
Oh.
What are they
Interesting.
called? They're called...
It's like Hangar 13 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, think about so let's break it down by the elements that we know. So
Okay,
you
let's
just
break it down.
Okay, let's
Here
break
we
it
go.
down.
We're
So you
gonna
just
break this
said
down.
there's heavy action, and that
Yes.
that might not be like the thing that Mafia 3 is going to be known for. It's just the thing that they chose to show ahead of time. We have these multiple characters that we can't play as, but that are kind of like Metal Gear Solid 5, where you can like bring 2 missions and you can kind of pick like who you want to have with you. And then we have the time period. So we got 70s or 68, I believe. I saw someone say
Okay.
officially. So maybe like late 60s, early 70s. And so you think about like announcing this game, and you're going to Gamescom, and you really want to get noticed because potentially it could be one of 2 of the new games announced at the show.
Sure.
It's like, what do we focus on? Do we really like introduce it, and then like, okay, now let's really get involved. Let's release screenshots showing these characters talking to you, or like, oh, let's do screenshots showing like a stealth mission, or like, let's get the car explosions out of the way first.
No,
Let's really do something eye-catching. Really do something that people are going to be talking about. That'll be kind of shocking and brutal, and then we can get into specifics.
But
Like, then we can really show you like how deep the story is and how different it is. Like then we can really show you different dynamics of like how you explore the city and how you discover new areas and stuff like that.
Ew, no.
Like we don't know everything we're ever going to know about Mafia 3 the first week it's announced.
But it didn't the gameplay didn't look shocking or exciting. It just looked indistinct.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I think. I think that explosions
That's a
aren't
different
shocking
thing.
anymore. Do you know what I mean? If you show an explosion, that looks the same.
Shocking
But what's,
for
but
Mafia.
what's funny
Yeah.
is I personally was super into that trailer.
Yeah.
The way that it's slowly built up and then it ease. And New Orleans is an incredible setting. There's so much you can do there. And it
Yeah.
seemed like they were tapping into that in that CD trailer. But I just, when I was looking at the Mafia 3 gameplay, and again, this is a knee-jerk response, but I was like, I've played this game 100 times before. Like, there's nothing about this that makes it feel special. And somebody said it seems like a sequel to those Godfather games on Xbox and Xbox 360 more than it does Mafia, and I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played Mafia games. Hubert sings about them, and the things that he says that he likes the most, I'm like, oh man, that's totally cool. Basically, there is a story to this. There's a progression to the Mafia games, but never like side missions, never little things that you go off and do on your own in the city. So it has an open world. The open world is just your backdrop, basically. This is not the case any longer. This is like an open world game like we're used to, where you do have to. There's like little stupid things on the maps, and you can go do side quests for people and
I love
things
those
like
stupid
that.
things.
Yeah, I mean, humans do. We love doing things like on the map, but it keeps removing the things that made Mafia special, like things that are unique to Mafia. Bloodworth, do you think it's a good call? Do you think Mafia 3 will be more successful for having exploding cars and things to unlock on the map?
I definitely know that there are a lot of people that down Mafia 2 for not having anything out in the open world, so that could be a thing. The exploding cars, I don't know. It's just kind of weird because I didn't actually play the previous Mafia games either, but wasn't that a thing that people talked about, like the cars like went at like realistic speeds and they were pretty slow because of the cars of the era?
Yeah.
So I was like,
I mean,
I think at least in Mafia 1. In Mafia 2, it's not as bad.
You think about how much performance. I mean, maybe this is just always happening, and I was only thinking about it at Gamescom. But like, people talk about performance a lot at Gamescom in the presentations. Like, we saw that Agni's Philosophy again. Just so they could show that off. Forza guys came out and were really stressing. Like, we have all these unique weather elements. It's all running at 60 frames, and so it's like, again, like you can show 5-6 screenshots from this game. Are you going to show a dude on the sidewalk? Are you going to show him like?
Well, they
are
have
you going to show
gameplay
him
clips,
up
too.
against like a door like? or are you going to show like a car upside down with giant flames flying off
Don't
of it
do
and
that.
people running? Just tons of dynamic elements, so you can show your game up. I'm not saying it's the best thing. I'm just saying it to me seems in line with a lot of what people
They
are
did have a
showing,
little bit of a
where
slow
we're at in
walk.
this gen, where they really want to make that push. So like we're really figuring out how to make these consoles sing now, and we want to show it off.
They had a bit of a slow walk there with it. Do you remember that part where like the police were arresting somebody or something, and he's just like, just walk around this.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. I guess that's gonna be part of it too. Is like that's a crazy time in our history, socially. Brandon, that depresses me so much though. That mentality that we like need explosions, because that's honestly the reason this game is what it is right now. There's somebody who said, "How are we supposed to sell this? It's 2015. Come on, where are the explosions?
Right.
What, are you just gonna hide around the whole game? Like, no. Like, show me some explosions."
But it doesn't. It makes me question what they could have done at Gamescom. But it doesn't make me think that like, oh, that means the game's going to be bad, or that means that's going to be the.
I
focus
mean, that's
the
the
whole time.
game, man. We saw the cars drive around. You like, we saw just like a head-on collision almost, but the guy dodged it and like tapped the side of the car, and then you see in the rear-view mirror it explodes.
Right, but like
that's the game.
carriages in Syndicate is an example. Like they made a huge deal about that, and like when
Yeah.
I sat down to demo the game, at E3, they were like, carriages are huge, man. You can get in, you can take another guy, you can get off that, you can jump in between them, and you can do stuff. And like, I was like, I can probably get over there faster if I just get up on the rooftop and zip
You
line
zip
over.
line?
And she was like, you have to get in the carriage. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was already kind of over the major thing they were selling. Like it's cool. I'm glad you put it in there. It's an interesting dynamic. I like seeing them run around. Like if there was a fight on top of one, like that would be an exciting mission. But like I'm not really the type of Assassin's Creed player where like I'm gonna be like, oh, I got to get across the map. Let me just grab a carriage. Like I'm gonna always run across the rooftops. So again, there's a difference between what's gonna be the good stuff in the game that you play, that you enjoy for yourself, and what they're gonna choose to put the spotlight on at the game's announcement.
Speaking to your point, Brandon, I remember when they were first showing off gameplay for Ground Zeroes, and they showed the slow motion stuff, and everyone was like, "This is the end of Metal Gear Solid. This is not
Oh, I
what
do
Metal
remember
Gear
that.
Solid is.
Yep,
It's
yep.
going to be too action oriented. They're taking this thing and ruining it." And it turns out that's not the case. Like it is different, but once you actually get your hands on it, you get to play around with all of the systems. It made a lot more
And
sense.
it's open world. Another
Yeah.
thing, I think that also, there's so many different options and so many different ways you can play these games potentially. We were talking about the explosive stuff in Crackdown. Like, there might be a chance that you can play Crackdown and never destroy something, unless they specifically like put an objective marker on it and tell you to. You can be like, oh, that's kind of fun, but it also is kind of frustrating to like dodge this stuff that's falling over. It's that freedom. That's why I love the genre.
Yeah, I do. I want to go back to Microsoft. Microsoft had a lot of huge things they talked about at Gamescom.
Good transition.
I'll start with the things that weren't huge because it was announced that with your HD antenna, you can now use your Xbox as an DVR. You can
Yeah, but
record
you
TV.
can only do it with like free, like basically stuff that comes over the air, not like
Yeah.
paid cable channels.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, well, how much of that do I actually watch?
I use an HD antenna. I don't pay for cable. I just have the airwaves give me TV shows. But yeah, I wouldn't use that DVR very often. But hey, it's a thing. It's a thing.
I mean, I do think it's smart that they have it that you can send it over to your devices and that kind of thing. That's kind of a perk compared to what most people have on their other DVRs.
Absolutely, actually, yeah. All future games with Gold games will be backwards compatible. Backwards compatibility launches for the Xbox One in November with over 100 games. That was a huge announcement.
Oh, so I haven't been paying attention to that. There are currently no backwards compatible games on Xbox One. They actually haven't launched
The
that
one,
yet.
well, the
Right.
ones that came with Rare Replay may be the first, I think.
Correct, yeah. Because
Yeah.
they actually download those games
Yeah,
separately.
the kind of stealth launch of backwards compatibility. Yeah, and then the other people are just like beta testers, basically. They're in the
Okay.
preview program.
Cool.
You will be able to buy a keyboard, the weird little keyboard controller,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
a
yeah.
input onto the bottom end of your controller.
Yeah, I had one of those for the Xbox 360, but it was a lot more flush. Like once you connected it, it felt like it was part of the controller.
Yes, this looks very awkward. Yeah, I mean, I should have brought up an image, but it just kind of like hangs out of the controller as opposed to neatly like snugging in like the
Like
360
I
one.
played Final Fantasy 11 on the Xbox 360. You got to talk to people when you play that game. There's no way around it. And like it was,
Yeah.
it did not break my back to just like put the controller down, type on the keyboard that I
yeah.
had plugged into my
That's-
360.
that's the way
and
to
then
do
pick
it.
the controller back up. Supposed to like.
More than anything, though, besides all these weird little announcements, I want to talk about like the games lineup, basically that's going on right now. Because Quantum Break was announced for April. We have an April release date of 2016 for Quantum Break. Finally has a release date after all these years. Scalebound and Crackdown 3, they were shown, also announced for 2016. Halo Wars 2 was announced and also said, hey, this will come out fall 2016. And at E3, we learned that ReCore, Gears of War 4, and Sea of Thieves are also 2016 games.
It's a pretty good year.
That's a good year. Do you believe it will happen?
Not all of them. There'll be 2 or 3 that slip.
So my feeling is 2 or 3 should slip. That's almost like too good of a year, right?
No, if they actually schedule them out well. I mean, if they're, if you have 5 of those come out in November, then it's a problem. But yeah, space them out. Put Sea of Thieves out in the summer.
I mean, you're right. What is that? That is 7 games. If you do it
ReCore's got us. There's no way. ReCore is gonna be Q1 of 2017.
Sure. ReCore is the one we've only seen a CG trailer of. That always makes me pretty suspicious of how that game is being developed currently. If you just do a CG trailer with nothing else.
But I think regardless of if they actually keep to a schedule, it's smart for Microsoft to set that up, because I think that was like the big difference at E3. It's like Sony came out and just blew our mind with all these dream projects, but like we don't know what they're, it's like, is this game even been started yet? Whereas Xbox like didn't have as many exciting announcements, but the announcements that they made like do see on track, like they are projects that we can look forward to very quickly.
Yeah.
And so they probably just wanted to keep that going because they knew Sony wasn't going to be saying anything this week. So it's just like, let's really cement the next year of our audience's lives so they can look ahead at the stuff that's coming.
True. I mean, with the exception of ReCore and Halo Wars 2, all these games are look playable right now. All these games.
Scalebound was the only game they played on stage at EA or Microsoft.
Yeah, and I mean, we only saw one on-stage demo at E3 as well, which was Uncharted. But most of the time, that doesn't happen anymore. Somebody will.
Gears was also playable, I think.
Oh yeah. Good call. Yeah, somebody holding a controller on stage. I love that every time.
Roddy Ferg.
Yeah. Is that what you call him? You get to call him Roddy Ferg?
No, I just made that up right now. But I like it. That should be his Twitter handle.
Ben, are you pretty impressed by this lineup?
I am. I'm extremely impressed. Because it's kind of all over the place. There's a lot of variety there. And, the sort of core Microsoft lineup is not that incredibly exciting to me. And it's not that I hate it or I think it's bad, but, when you say Forza, Halo, Gears, Fable, it doesn't ignite passion in me.
Right.
And so it's these weirder things. It is the recores, it is the scale bounds that make me be like, yes, I want to spend more time on my Xbox in a weird way.
I absolutely understand that. Even Quantum Break, where
and Quantum Break, I'm super pumped on Quantum Break.
yes, like when it was like the action heavy stuff, I wasn't too on board. When we see him walk into this warehouse and see a time machine being built
In
real time,
basically to describe it was like time-lapse photography, where you just kind of like you see a stadium, but that's happening in real time in an environment you're in. That's something I hadn't seen before.
And I think that's actually one of the reasons that I liked Alan Wake. I really enjoyed that game. I'm in the minority, but like I really liked how I liked like seeing a tower way off in the distance and hearing this radio announcer like the whole time, and then like going into the actual booth. And like he's talking like now, he's got the mic up and he's just like, okay, that was the song, and oh hey look, Alan's here. He's like, Alan Wake just walked in the studio, and I'm like, that was a really cool through line. That like I have his voice in my head, and then now I'm here. I feel like I made a journey to this point, and so it's exciting like for them to. I think they do fun. I mean, way back to the original Max Payne, where like you're walking through this big dark area and you're following a blood trail on the ground, so you don't fall off, and you're a baby crying, and it's just like they really like messing with. Like you're playing a level, but you're also getting the story, and you don't really have a firm grasp on reality right now. I think Remedy does that really well.
Absolutely. My favorite things about Remedy games is I say to myself, what is going on? And it's a ride in a way that other games aren't rides. Like I feel like if you were to type out the story of Alan Wake and hand it to somebody and say, hey, what do you think? They'd be go, what? No.
Yeah, like when Alan Wake ended, I was like, okay.
The way they tell it and the places they put you in and how they sort of distort time, it's just you can see them just wanting to surprise you and taking delight in kind of flipping expectations, and they do it better than so many other people, and that's what it seems like Quantum Break is going to be to me.
Yeah. Like I remember BioShock, when you like really early in the game when you walk up upon this lady that's like leaning over a baby carriage, and like she attacks you, and then you get to it and there's a gun in it. But like they kind of hand you the power to decide how long it's going to take for you to get to that woman. It's not like a cutscene where you get the camera's like, okay, we're gonna 4 seconds on her, and then she's gonna just automatically turn around. You see her, and it's like. If you're replaying the game, you can just run up and start smacking her, or like what I did, I really like slowly walked up to her to really like increase the drama, and so I just like being given that control, and that's what was cool about that moment. Like way back to him seeing this whole time machine being built. It's like you can move that camera around, you can get right up close to it, or you can kind of slowly walk up to it. I like that. I like Zapower.
I hate that gun in the baby carriage though.
You don't like that moment?
I think I'm just a BioShock hater. I think I'm just
my
like,
gosh.
Fine. We all need some to hate.
I was expecting like some glorious defense. It's like, no, I'm just a hater.
you know, I think I've just come to accept that. Yeah, because I'm just a hater. Boy, do I hate that game. We should move on. More things to hate, of course. World of Warcraft had a big announcement today.
Which Ben hates. I'm just kidding.
No.
A new expansion, World of Warcraft Legion.
They called their presentation for this. They said, "Thank you for watching our PowerPoint presentation."
When it was
The
done.
problem was not what they said; it was how they said it.
What do you mean by that?
There were.
It went an hour and a half, right?
There were 4 bullet points on the screen, and they were like the new dungeons. And instead of showing us the new dungeons, he's just sitting up there going point by point, describing them. So we're just watching this guy and these bullet points and having to listen and having to use our imagination to try to imagine what these will be like.
How is he describing them?
He's just like, this is where this dungeon is. This is the context for the dungeon. And it was, that's fine, but when this is a big tenet of your new expansion, you know, there was just a story that World of Warcraft subscriptions are at the lowest point in a very long time.
I think I saw halved within the last 6 months. That's
Wow.
crazy to me.
Yeah,
That's insane.
You need to generate excitement.
Yes.
Putting bullet points on screen is not enough. You know, that's you saw the people were doing static cutouts of the audience reactions, and even in the audience, people were just like looking on their phones or.
It was really interesting to
bored
compare
or-
actually just the crowd, just looking at shoulders and heads. Like from the beginning, everyone's just like frozen. They're like so wrapped, and then like by the end of it, you just see like lots of swaying
Yeah.
and lots of people. Like,
Hardcore
standing here
World
for
of
an hour.
Warcraft fans
Yeah.
who are there to see an announcement, and those people are let down. That's a
yeah,
bad sign.
It's okay.
They're just bored.
yeah.
So the way that they approached that is they broke it down into like 3 or 4 like core categories. It was like the story, our weapons, and the heroes, the class specific stuff that we're doing. Heroes. I'm playing too much Hearthstone. The dungeons and like
Prestige.
how that's going to work. Yeah, prestige and how PvP is going to work. I think those are the 4 main groups that they did. And so within each group, like there was some gameplay we could watch, you know, that like was inexplicably like at the end of what you were showing, and like there were some stills we could watch, or like you were talking about with dungeons, there's nothing, and it's literally just like you're just going through all these bullet points. The mistake was, I think, to break all those up by the 4 different categories and have those 2 guys just kind of standing in the background. What they should have done is look at all what assets they had for what thing, regardless of whether they're just going to jump from PvP to class or something, and order it in order of how exciting the announcement will be of what you're talking about. So like if you have all that PowerPoint stuff, save all of that to the very end and get to anything you have gameplay of, talk about that for, I don't care if you're swapping around to different categories. Only show the stuff that you can make the most exciting for the people that are there.
You know what's funny is conventionally I would say no, because you have those people there, but you also have to consider your online audience. And if you do have a message to convey, if you want to show your game off in a great way, and they were streaming this live to the world, you should have your most entertaining stuff up top, because you're going to lose people as it goes, and then you won't show them the things that you want them to see.
But I've been thinking about this. I wonder how much our criticism of this event matters, like how it was presented, because the vast majority of people did not wake up to watch the stream or had to go to work or something. They're just going to read a post on some website that has it all like very quickly summarized.
But who
So
wrote that post?
The person who had to watch that stuff.
Right.
And so it does shape their opinion, yes.
Yeah, I think it is important, and I just like, Ben, I think you nailed it, man. Like they need something more than World of Warcraft Legion to get the subscribers back up.
I'm not saying Blizzard isn't enthused about World of Warcraft anymore, but just the tone those guys were taking. Like,
Yes, particularly that first guy. And
he was just going through the motions.
the story
I don't
guy.
know.
And it's tough because it's like we want to show you the PowerPoint presentations because really features are more important than anything, because you guys are here. You guys have waited for this presentation. You guys want the facts, you know, like, so I understand like when they're like, we can't, they're like, they should have shown something from that dungeon. Like there might be nothing. Like they literally might have nothing. And so it's like this PowerPoint presentation is going to be better than showing you nothing. But at the same time, the story guy comes out and like really starts like speaking a language that's like, I'm not that excited for this because I don't know anything yet, you know? And so you get in and it's
What
like...
kind of language?
He's just like, yeah, you know, trolls are not going to be happy about that, but when are trolls ever happy? You know, it's like, he didn't say something like that, but
Yeah.
you're like, what? Like, why did you, even those 6 seconds you just took to tell that joke is 6 seconds that I'm not hearing more things about Warcraft.
Right.
So it's like, either make it a big theatrical experience with lots of cinema and music and, you know, like, you know, Mets and getting all excited, you know, like these guys that, you know, can come out and really sell it to the crowd, or just make it a PowerPoint thing and like, and get through that as fast as you possibly can. because like I can't remember what the second guy who came up. I think it was the guy who did the weapons and did like the difference between his pace. He clearly came out and like we identified with the crowd and was like, all right, let's get into it. You know, like
I thought you said cinnamon music.
Mm,
And I was like,
Cinnamon
I
music.
don't know what that is,
Cinnamon
but it
music.
sounds lovely.
yeah.
So I have a question. Do you think that World of Warcraft should just kind of ride itself out like this? Do you think it should just keep kind of like, doing its improvements as it is and just kind of, it's going to end eventually. Do you think it should do this, or do you think it should do something radical and maybe something that would be crazy and make fans angry? Do you know what I mean?
Kyle, it's a weird thing because, you say like, oh my gosh, like subscriptions are cut in half. It's at such a low point.
Yeah.
There's still like 5.5 million people playing this game.
More
right?
than
So
more than 14 for sure.
Yeah.
Still
Final
number
Fantasy
one.
14.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people still playing this game, no matter what. And I think when you're still responsible for that large of an audience, writing it out seems really weird to me. Because I think about the way expansions are announced for smaller games like EverQuest 1 and Final Fantasy 11. They're like, hey, here's our new expansion, and they throw up a video on YouTube.
Sure.
And because they know what their audience is and use their resources accordingly. I feel like Blizzard could have done more here, especially if they're going to make this a yearly thing.
What could they do?
So the way they announced this trailer is they had a little video and then they kind of went into all this stuff. I think they could have built up excitement a little bit more. Show us a teaser. Like Illidan is on the cover of this expansion. One of the most important, significant, recognizable characters in all of Warcraft. Just tease us, like on Twitter say, like show like Illidan. Here's Illidan. And then like people run wild with speculation. And then show a trailer. And then once you have more stuff prepared, talk about just the new class. Like the new class is probably exciting enough that you could just focus on that. Make
What is it? It's Demon Hunter?
Demon Hunter, right?
Cool.
So you don't have to talk about, like, we know they're going to be dungeons, we know they're going to be raids. What really makes this expansion exciting? And focus on that. Like, it was
Yeah.
just the lack of focus that I think hurt this
Yeah,
presentation.
because I think, isn't that like, I don't know, doesn't it seem odd to you that like this can be in such an early state and we don't have any kind of release window at all, right?
No, but I bet we get something during BlizzCon.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it seems strange to me to go into so much nitty-gritty detail about how this system is going to work and how that system is going to work.
Right. Well,
If you
that's-
can't
yeah.
get out there and actually act on it.
And ironically, that's like that's how you don't build anticipation. Like not to like translate this into how you make trailers, but like
Do it.
If the way to edit something well, is to always attempt to make an edit a half a second before people expect it. So you're constantly just I want more, I want more, I want more. And if you are watching a sequence where it's like you're getting everything with every
Yeah.
shot, then it just kind of slowly gets tiring. So like when they put up a bunch of weapons, like they talked about, so you can have artifact weapons. So like Ashbringer is a very like powerful or a very important sword in that game. You can wield Ashbringer. You can have it look like what everyone expects it to look like, or you can freak it out and have like a shattered version of it or a lightning version of it. And they put that thing up on screen and then they talk about it for like 5 minutes. And it's like if they just put up, we're like, so say you can make Ashbringer look like this, and just show it and be like, okay, next thing, and have people be like, oh no, duh. And so now it's like, okay, now I'm gonna go straight to the website after and like
Sure.
look at each of those really
Right.
carefully.
Exactly.
And the information will be there, but it's like as long as you're on stage, like make it a show, like make it.
I hear you, Brandon.
And you said, Brandon, that probably the majority of people don't care about this, but I'm going to challenge that. It's something I'm very upset by. So Ashbringer, there's one Ashbringer in World of Warcraft.
Right.
Hugely
so
important
this is a
sword.
sword, an important sword.
Yeah,
Okay.
very important.
Sure.
Okay, has a history to it.
Even back in the Warcraft games?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's a very important sword. And having everyone run around with this sword, seeing it all over the place, and being able to change its color and the way it looks.
That ain't right.
That, like, it just says to me that you don't care about this thing that maybe the way the fans do,
Wow.
And perhaps that's being too harsh.
Or you not that you don't care, but that you're willing to make sacrifices like that. You're willing to make Ashbringer look stupid, for the sake of giving people variety, giving them that access, but still making it unique. Having your cake and eating it too. it hurts the lore. Like I see just the Warcraft making decisions that hurt the lore, not because they don't care about the lore, but because they're like, we'll take a lore hit because it'll just at the end of the day,
Do you think
the majority of the people will be okay with it or excited?
Do you think when you say to yourselves, we'll take a lore hit, like that's a bad sign for your game?
Yes.
That hurts me deeply because that is a major reason of why I play the World of Warcraft for the world. I play it to be there. Like I have just as much fun doing a dungeon as I do making a fish feast. Like that's just me. It's the way I play the game. Like honestly, one of my favorite memories ever of World of Warcraft is fishing and getting that turtle mount. And like I lost it. Like I freaked out. Like I got to Facebook, which was like like threw up a picture. Like that was like a 0.0003% chance of getting that thing, and just like and it moves on water, so you can just take the turtle right out to the surface of the water and go swimming. Lost it. And how dumb is that? It's like that's not Ashbringer. That's just something that I went in and found in the world. So
I hope No Man's Sky will be like that.
Right?
It'll be like that. I want to do some quick updates to prior stories from prior GT times. Firstly, Mega Man, oh my gosh, what a slip up there. Mighty number 9 was delayed again this week. Easy mistake, I gotta say, it's a pretty easy mistake.
Mighty Man.
Looks a lot like Mighty Man.
That's gross.
Okay, so this game was delayed again just this week. It was slated to come out in September. I mean, you can still actually go to Amazon and pre-order this, but it was meant to, and it was. The sucky thing was that retailers ahead of this said, hey, this game is not coming out till 2016. And the team behind Mighty Number 9 said, no, hold on. No, that's wrong. And so, online retailers were pushing the game back before they were willing to announce it. And then they officially announced it just this Monday to Kickstarter backers and saying you first. We wanted to tell you first, when clearly they were telling retailers first. Game Informer published an article on Friday saying this game is delayed.
Right.
It really rubs me the wrong way in a lot of ways.
Well, also, what is the value of telling backers first? They're going to just tell everybody right afterwards. I don't understand. If you're going to announce the delay, then just announce the delay.
Who would really be pissed off? The backers. Let's tell them first. Let's have this explosion of bad news start right at the epicenter.
I think you should tell the backers first because they're the reason you're here. Yeah. You would not be here without them.
Right, but I mean, I don't know. They're going to hear it they're not necessarily going to hear it from the horse's mouth first, just because you told them first. You know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't necessarily check that email before they came across their Twitter feed.
Oh yeah, it's definitely just to be nice. It's definitely just a formality basically to tell the backers first. And so I'm kind of miffed that they knew it was delayed and did not tell their backers, and then did tell their backers.
It's also not the first time.
This is not the first delay. Right. It was originally announced for April of 2015, and then on April 28th. They said, okay, it's not going to make it to April. We're pushing it to September. That happened.
I mean, March 28th? Or they waited past the release date? It just didn't happen?
Yeah, they waited into April to delay it until September.
What really gets me is the reason for the delay. It doesn't make any sense.
Sure, let me read it too. Okay, here's the reason for the delay. All of the core content for the game is developed and in a complete state. However, there are still bugs and issues pertaining to the online features that are included in the game.
Ouch.
Kyle.
Yeah.
No one cares about those online features. You know what people want? They want to play a Mega Man game.
Yeah, do you know what the online features are? I couldn't find them. I was trying to find what the online features are.
Just let's play a Mega Man game. Let me get that guy's power and then use it against this guy.
Yeah.
We're done. Call it a day.
Yeah.
Release your game.
Honestly, my suspicion is that they were in the certification phase and failed miserably.
When I went to go
That's scary.
When I went to go see Uncharted at E3, when I went to go see that stage presentation, Mighty Number 9 was right around the corner from where it was because I got there and was like, I got 10 minutes, and I was like, Mighty Number 9. So I sat down and played it for a little bit, and I noticed this guy sitting next to me that was playing a different level, and then went in, waited to finally sit down, waited for them to start Uncharted, saw Uncharted, got up, talked to a couple of journalists before I left, went back in, was like, I got a whole half an hour before the next thing, and I was like, I want to try another level because I saw that there was a level select.
Sure.
Went back in, guy was still there, 40 minutes later, and was still rocking some other crazy level. There was a lot of that game at E3.
Yeah.
Like they said, that game's done.
Yeah.
It's so funny. That did not seem like a game that was like Mad Max. They just sat you down and they were like, go. I mean, it's not there's some weird restriction. It was just very, which Batman had. Batman Arkham Knight, which came out a week after E3, was very restricted in the demo. It was like, no, you can only do these specific things. And it's like, the game's done. What are you talking about? Whereas the game felt done. What I played felt like a finished game.
Yeah,
I concur. It's
delayed to Q1. They're aiming for Q1 of 2016. It's not been delayed to Q1. They're aiming for it.
And Q1 is a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. The fear, the risk, the painful inevitability of getting up in front of your crowd, whether it's on a stage or on your, Kickstarter page or on your YouTube channel, and just being like, guys, I have bad news. I have this thing. It sucks. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Like, and that they didn't want to do it. It's got to be that simple, right? Or they were just like,
they were delaying.
They were waiting to rip that Band-Aid off, and then they finally did it. That is, I'm so focused on that, just in this day and age of social media and how that you can have something like Kickstarter. It's like, oh, yay, fans, what's up? Let's all have a party. Okay, everybody go into the next room. It's like, okay, no, party's on again. And it's like, the party's always on, man. You can't, once the cat's out of the bag, you can't control that. And so that fascinates me to no end.
But
I want to get my Dick Tracy hat and my Unsolved Mysteries trench back on and go.
Find out what happened here. Yeah, because they won't tell you. You got to communicate. You have to communicate so much to the people who backed your project.
Because even communicating failure is endearing potentially. That can work out. Like we can. It's understandable. This isn't understandable. That makes no sense that they're delaying it for online.
Yeah.
They've ripped off so many Band-Aids. They did the Kickstarter, then they're like, actually, no, we need more money. Actually, it's getting delayed.
Got the second Kickstarter.
And then, actually, let's announce this other project for this franchise you really care about, while the first one that we're promising to bring back isn't even out. And then let's delay it again and not even give a month.
And, we're busy, so, please understand if we're not around to answer any questions.
Yeah, that's another update to last week, actually. Red Ash officially was not funded on Kickstarter, did not reach its goal. So did not get any of that $500,000 US. And Ian laughs. We should move on. Nolan North, oh my gosh, the stuff is crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Peter Dinklage, voice actor of the, it's a Ghost, is the thing that
Ghost,
around?
yeah.
Yep.
Just Ghost.
Ghost has been replaced by Nolan North, not just going forward for this character, but Nolan North is going to re-record all of the dialogue that has been recorded.
Has probably already done it.
Already in the game, and that's going to be patched out when The Taken King comes out.
Think about that. Like they could have done like a Doctor Who type of thing, right? It's like,
yes.
Oh, he gets
voice.
shot and replaced, or like
it's a
his
computer.
voice gets scrambled,
sure,
or anything.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, we're gonna record everything over.
That's insane.
It is insane.
I mean,
That's so crazy.
comparison videos. I can't wait.
Oh,
for
yeah.
people to. It's like gonna be like PT. It's like you can't get that with those moments back. Like even there's a
'cause you
that
can't
wizard that wizard came from the moon wasn't in the final game.
Right,
so
but
it's
you
like,
can't play Destiny without being connected.
Right.
At all.
Yeah, so
so
record
even
it
if it's
now.
on the disc, you can't get to it.
Get your Dinklage while you can.
I mean, this obviously happened because Peter Dinklage is probably very expensive and doing a lot of things, right?
Do you think that's obvious?
I mean...
I think that's the most likely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
There has to be more to it for them
which
to
on their
re-record,
part,
though.
I don't know why they thought of that.
Right, if this is
before
a
they
game
started.
that you, from the start,
Yeah.
you were like, we're going to be doing Destiny stuff for 10 years.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that naturally occur to you? Was
yeah.
it so important to get somebody like Peter Dinklage to voice this ghost?
I vote no. And that's kind of the weird thing because I'm usually like the guy who brings up voice actors a lot, on shows that we do. I don't think you need even Nolan North. And I love the guy. I think he's great. That's not a role I need him to play. I think it's a perfect role for somebody that works a lot in the industry, is very established. Nobody really knows who he is. Nobody knows, what he sounds like. Like Cortana. What's the name of the voice actress who voices Cortana? What's her name?
Ooh, I do. Oh, I almost knew it.
What's her name? Anyone at this table know?
No, people know though. Our viewers know. They're shouting.
Our viewers
it
know.
out.
We'll get corrections music next week, but on the top of my head, I don't know her name.
She's the same
She's
one as-
amazing.
she does
I love her
Princess Peach,
career.
too.
Princess Peach, yep, I knew that.
But again, when you don't think of Princess Peach when you do that, whereas depending on what Nolan brings to this, it's I may or may not think of other roles
I
that
get what
he's
you're saying.
done, as opposed to here's a person who is going to thank their lucky stars to be involved in Destiny. We can get this person involved, back in anytime. Unless they suddenly get popular on some TV show or film or other video game, is the only time that they're just I'm too big for this game. I could easily see Dinklage's agent just being like, we need to renegotiate this. We need to go back to the drawing table and figure out what my client has been kind of defamed or whatever. It's this has not worked out really great. It was not worth the money you paid on Dinklage for him to get run through the mud, because you guys sure as hell aren't going to say anything about how this game was directed, how the script was written for him, all this. From my perspective, he didn't do anything wrong. He went in, was given a script, read a line, and they said, "Great."
Yep. Yeah, it's on the director.
And we use
for
that.
sure.
I also,
Yeah.
I also think this could be this little conspiracy theory.
Okay.
but this could be part of them just saying we need to rebrand hard to get past all of the like stuff that people keep saying about Destiny. Like Destiny had a troubled first period of its life.
First
like,
year.
First year, like everyone hated the story, everyone hated the acting, everyone hated the mission structure, everyone thought that their pricing was bad. Like they're trying to move forward with the Taken King. I think that wiping out the terrible acting of the bad story it helps Destiny. It doesn't hurt them.
Because this is not the only equally significant change. They're replacing the light system completely.
The leveling
video
system.
game leveling.
Yeah. You just kill things and level up now.
Yeah.
They're acknowledging
That's great.
that like
Hallelujah.
the like core progression system is flawed and fixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wonder how much of this story. I mean, if they're gonna have them re-record, how much are they rewriting?
I don't.
Well, there's a big difference though, Ben. They announced that, right? Like they
Yes.
announced, like, you know, Bungie came out and said, "Hey, we're making this advancement to the leveling system." Some other publication came out and said, "Oh, and did you hear this? You know about
it's actually-
Nolan North?"
did
like,
they? I thought
did Bungie like
what I
officially
saw
cop to Nolan being in the game now?
On the light level thing, I saw it on
Nolan
some
was doing
other site.
interviews.
So this is all from Game Informer actually, because
Okay.
the Taken King
King is on their cover.
Yep.
Okay.
And so all of this came from Game Informer's interviews.
Okay, so the official, so
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
part of it. That
The reason we heard about Nolan North first is like Game Informer's like, oh, we got to get this out there,
And it's
so
just
that came
hilarious.
and it's hilarious. I do think though, Brandon, I don't think they got Nolan North because they wanted a name. I think they got him because he probably gave the best audition. He's just so good.
Sure, yeah, I can buy that.
I want him to be my buddy for Destiny. You know what I mean? Your buddy who's always
Yeah.
there.
Good old
You know, I have
Nolanor.
on this very podcast
Nolan North.
had a lot of scorn and cynicism for Destiny, but I have to say, like this takes some What's up?
Scornicism.
Scornicism.
Scornicism. This takes humility, I think.
Sure.
You know, it's so easy to just be like, here's the new stuff in our new expansion, pay $40, to really go back
World of
and
Warcraft.
and look at your game and take that feedback into consideration and say, no, we're actually going to try to make this better. I respect that.
Yeah.
You know,
That was what
I
I was
respect
talking
it
about,
so
yeah.
much that like I am interested in playing Destiny again. I never thought I'd say that.
Cool.
Being honest, we're not infallible. We're not
Yeah.
perfect game developers. Like, this is a growing experience. When we said, they had a 10-year plan, that doesn't mean like we got the whole 10 years figured out and it's locked in. And
Right.
if we get into year 7 and it's all messed up, oh well, this is the road we set for ourselves. We're willing to change this. We could find ourselves in the same point 3 years from now and we have to change everything up.
Yeah, it's weird. I think that Taken King had a very good week because I think it was only 3 weeks ago we were furious at Luke Smith for the things he was saying about the way that they're charging us money for.
I was just
the Taken
thinking
King.
about that. Yeah.
In retrospect, that just now feels like a really bad interview.
Sure.
Not necessarily like a company-wide problem, you know?
Yeah, and it feels like we're over it. It feels
Yeah.
like we're through it.
Yeah.
Here's. This news is so fun. You might remember a GT Time episode called "The New Tony Hawk Already Looks Bad," and so some action has been taken. This game comes out next month. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 comes out next
month?
in
You're
September.
not going to put quotations over improves.
I just put a question mark because honestly, Brandon, I think it may have improved. Here's what's happened to listeners. The new Tony Hawk game, 1 month away from launch, has gone with a cel-shaded look. Now all people have outlines on their character models, and I guess the textures are slightly more cartoony. I don't know what has happened really, but yeah, it's a cel-shaded game now. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 is a cel-shaded game. There was no big announcement for this. The website that covered it was just called Ride. It was like Ride Magazine or something. It was just called Ride. I don't remember the link, but it's not a video game centric website. But they had all the new screenshots, and this is the way it was announced. Just here's how our game looks now. Are we
Yeah.
okay with it, Brandon? You're giving me like soft eyes. You're not into this.
Well, again, it to me, the angle I'm always going to take, which I will never apologize for, is like, how should they have announced this? What's the trailer? And to me, the trailer is like you have Tony Hawk just like walk out with his board looking like he did before, and then like maybe real Tony Hawk's next to him, and it's just kind of like and like snaps, and then he becomes like
Okay.
cel shaded, and then he's like, there we go. Now like so they're owning up that they're like, no, that was the initial thing that we did, and didn't get great reaction from it. Maybe we weren't necessarily excited about the way it looked, but hey, how about this?
You know
Have
what I
you
would do?
seen a trailer for this game though? I don't think that I have.
No, not an official big trailer
Ooh.
announcement.
Yeah, they had like
Because we would score the hell out of that for sure.
Yeah, they had like a gameplay reveal, but it was not necessarily a trailer. We need that trailer pretty bad.
This is like, is it just me or does this smell like Activision value level game? Like it's, you know, they could have almost just like put this on store shelves like Duck Dynasty and never told anybody.
Right, like Duck Dynasty was a $60 game at this point this last year. So you're right, Blood. You're right. Even though it is a value game, it'll still be full price and then drop off very fast.
Like it doesn't feel like they are invested in like bringing back Tony Hawk in a big whatsoever.
You're right. They don't care that we're bad.
The party was big though. Spent a lot of money on catering.
What
when they
party
first
are you
kicked
talking
this
about?
thing off. The whatever party. Remember the infamous party that launched the game?
It was it was like secretly announced with the party. That was a
Right.
caterer who took a picture.
No, I know, but
yeah,
it's still
yeah,
it was in the game's budget. They still spent money on it.
You're right.
Or maybe Tony Hawk sprung for that. Who knows?
Ben, you're sighing a lot. Are you not happy with how this game looks now?
The infamous Ben sigh.
I mean, Tony Hawk is a game that I spent so much time with. Like, yeah, anytime I think about Tony Hawk 1, 2, and 3, and even when I go back and play them, I'm like, this is so incredible.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much here, and there's still so much they could do, you know? Think about, like, where online capabilities were with the PS2 and Tony Hawk 3, and all of the things that could be done, like the sharing of tracks and just, like, the competitions you could do, just with those core mechanics that felt so good in the Neversoft games, and it's just been gone down the drain, and this just seems like they don't know what they have.
So think about it this way. So you're Activision. You know you've allotted your whole budget for the year, and you've seen how much money. Like this is it. This is the pie that we're willing to spend on Tony Hawk 5. It's interesting to have games kind of in this Kickstarter era where it's like, you know, let's bring that franchise back. But let's not make it a huge thing. Let's actually make a smallerish game. Let's not spend that much money on it. Maybe with the interest of like scaling this thing. You know, it's like all we got to add is like more, more characters, more equipment, more customizable options, more areas. Like that's the way to build a game. That's what we got with every new Tony Hawk. You know, with like some new modes here or there. Like I wonder, would you rather have a Tony Hawk 5 like this, or would you rather just Tony Hawk still be not around? You know,
I think whatever they're doing here, again, it looks cheap. It feels cheap.
Yeah.
It feels like nobody cares. Why call that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5?
Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Because
Why not just call it Tony Hawk Pro Skater or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Because 5
Tony Hawk
feels
Super
to me
Friends.
like you're even forgetting about American Wasteland. You're forgetting about all that other stuff that you did in those other eras, and saying, "Hey, we're going back to the roots, and we're going to bring back Tony Hawk in a big way." No, you're not.
no, because
You're not doing that.
they're trying to convince you that it's more important than it is. That's all they're doing. More people will pay attention to this because it says Tony Hawk 5.
Yeah.
It's
wrong.
that like acceptable losses argument. Where
Yeah,
they're like,
exactly.
well, we'll get the brand out there. They'll see literally Tony Hawk 5, and like that'll generate an excitement. When they see the graphics, it'll take away. But like even dropping down to this level is higher than it would be if it was Tony
mean,
Hawk Super Friends or whatever.
Yeah, if
like,
it was called just like Tony Hawk's Skateboards or whatever,
Yeah.
and it was clearly a budget title, we wouldn't be talking
Tony
about
Hawk
it right now.
Board-
You're right. You're totally
Also,
right. It would
he's
not be on the
totally-
show right now.
He's totally in the same kind of position as that guy on the Time cover.
which is another story.
Yeah, I don't even want to
There
cover
are
the time
photoshops
cover.
of that actually, of those
Yeah.
two things together.
I
so.
want to make a Photoshop of that.
Oh, funny.
You know what's funny about this? And the reason I picked it actually though is the last time we were talking about Tony Hawk's 5, I said they should be screaming. They should be having intense facial expressions. This guy is actually screaming as he does his grind.
Kyle, what did you do?
I like it.
If you could call
I-
that
yeah.
a human facial expression in any way.
I just wanted to pick it because
It's kind of like if
he's
you could
just
call
trying-
that cell shading, but
Yeah.
you know.
It's not quite cell shading. That is why I had a hard time describing it. Blood, how would you describe the graphical effect before we move on?
Highly saturated.
Outlined? I don't know.
Yeah, everyone's got like oh man, it's so weird. It's like basically a lot of like, it's what Smash Bros on the 3DS did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that those initial like videos came out and they said, "Oh, no one likes this. Quick, let's change it," without really a lot of thought put into it. You know.
I'm sure a lot of thought went into it.
Well, I don't know. It's coming out next month.
Yeah.
Didn't put a lot of thought until how they would tell us about it, basically.
Yeah, it just seems messy.
Oh yeah, the trailer I would make is like reading YouTube comments and tweets out loud about how the old one looks. You know what I mean? I would like just directly just face that. Just like, okay, you all thought our game looks bad. We're trying our hardest to salvage it before we release it.
You thought it looked bad then? Look at it now.
Let's move on to, well, you're the one who started this conversation. Boy, we have. We'll go through this quickly. This is from Daniel Warren. It was announced recently that Nomura plans to bring dramatic changes to Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat, and that he is planning to draw inspiration from Advent Children both visually and stylistically. Do you think this is a good thing? Part of remaking a classic seems like it should be sticking to what made it a classic in the first place, and not risking the fans who made it what it is on untested or worse, divisive new ideas. A polished-up translation of the story, re-recorded soundtrack, and fully realized environments and characters seem like enough to make this project amazing, so why alter the gameplay? Given the relative failings of the series' recent entries to garner a positive audience, shouldn't now be the time for Square Enix to play it safe, especially given the amount of success a Bravely Default and its more traditional vibe? Would love the panel's thoughts.
Curious what you think. I definitely have an opinion on this.
Wow.
Comparing the Final Fantasy
That might not
VII
be the popular
remake
one.
to Bravely Default's success does not make sense on any level.
Explain that.
Because Bravely Default was successful in the sense that Square Enix was like, oh, some people care about this.
Sure.
If Final Fantasy VII Remake did as well as Bravely Default, like, it would be considered a catastrophic failure, right? Like, they're going all in. And
Sure.
I in a weird way, I kind of have the same opinion. In like, I want there to be a turn. Like, if you're going to remake the game, you don't have to reinterpret it necessarily. People already love it. I already love it. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think any of that matters. Whether you keep ATB or you do something totally new, all people care about is if it's good, right? If Final Fantasy VII Remake has a new combat system, but it's excellent, does it really matter that it changed? You know?
I think it matters in a good way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I think... actually, Brandon, I want to hear your opinion. You have one locked and loaded. What's going on?
This is a quick tangent, not to bring up Batman into every conversation, but I
Bring him in.
had a really interesting artistic event a couple years ago, and it's
Whoa.
when Batman Year One and Dark Knight Returns were both released on DVD. Dark Knight Returns, I think, critically might be one of the best Batman comics ever made. But Batman Year One, next to Killing Joke, is my absolute favorite. It's just a fantastic origin of Batman. I love that story. And so Year One comes out on DVD, and I was like, let's do this. This is great. And I pop it in, and it was Year One. It was scene by scene, line by line, block by block, that story. And I was kind of bored. Actually, when it was over, I was like, yeah, they did it. I mean, they did it. They fulfilled every wish I could have ever had. And it was just it was cool. It was there. You know, like there was like one little moment that they focused on a little bit more than the comic did, but like that was very, very faithful. And then I saw Dark Knight Returns, and they tweaked it. They took full characters out. Like there was a whole, like Ronald Reagan was in Dark Knight Returns, and they were just like, nope. You know, like they definitely made it a movie. You know, like told their own story, like kind of like changed Batman's attitude and stuff. And like I was drooling over that film. I loved it so much. It's one of the best comic adaptations to an animated film I've ever seen. And I looked back at both of those and was like, you got to change it a little bit. You have to. Like I think if you just kind of shoehorn these amazing character models and this incredible universe into this gameplay model that was built 20 years ago, I think it's just gonna feel like this thing just wants to break away from all of these restraints and try something new when it can't, because it has to fit the materia, all that, like it has to work with these systems. So
I don't know.
I mean, think about game development. You think about these guys doing it, and day by day, and then one guy he's like, "Whoa, you know what? What if we didn't?" It's like, no, we can't. We can't change anything. And you're like, "Yeah, but I got a good idea." And it's like, you can't, because it's got to be 7.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of, I think that there definitely needs to be some upgrades, but at the same time, like if you look at Star Wars, like people don't want the changes. It's like, no, I just want like the Star Wars that I watched originally in HD.
Yeah,
I don't want to see
another
actor thrown in there or a changed music or something like that.
That's
that's like
That's
that's a
different, though.
reprint, and it's a 2-hour experience. I think there's a lot of different.
But I think you're getting that. I think that's the remastered. You know what I mean? The PC build that's coming to PS4. I think that's what that is.
Right. But I mean, I think people want. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's things that I think the question comes with dramatic changes is just not very specific, right? And it's like,
Yeah, because they probably don't know. Like Brandon, like they probably have no idea what the.
So it's like,
right now.
okay, do you mean like if you meant something like we're not going to cut to a different battle scene because that may be awkward. You know,
Sure.
like if you have these greatly, detailed streets and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're gonna cut to some other place. Like that. That to me makes sense. To like, okay, let's modernize this. Let's have everything, be like Chrono Trigger, and let's just, here's your menus, go for it.
I mean, I think that's the modernization is the key.
Yeah.
Like you take out the save crystals and just have it autosave. You make it so battles happen faster. You make it so in the areas when you're in the downtown area and you're like, where am I? Which shop is this shop? Like, I've been here for 2 hours. You make it so that you can actually just keep playing the game without getting stuck for 100 years. Like, I think that nostalgia is playing a big role in why we all love this game, because it's a great game, yeah. But like, if you go back and play it again, like there are definitely places where it's showing its age.
Yeah, I mean, we are playing it right now.
Yeah, and I think those
playing
areas
it tonight.
you change the hell out of it. Like, yeah, make the battle system new, make the save system new, make the areas more not streamlined like in terms of content, but like make it a little clearer where you're supposed to go or like what you're supposed to do. Have a journal, quest log, whatever. I don't know.
The reason the Resident Evil remake is considered the pinnacle of remakes is because, honestly, it treats Resident Evil 1 on PS1 like a first draft. It does not say, this is so sacred, we have to do everything exactly like this. It understands what the game is, it understands what made it special to so many people, and it just cuts out everything else.
And it makes it make sense.
Yes.
Like you read these dialogues from Spencer, the guy who built
Yeah.
this mansion, and him being trapped and his family being taken away from him, and it's just like, whoa, this is a little bit more than a video game. This is actually a really tragic gothic story. Like Lisa was like the most win addition ever.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow. And it's not something where it's like,
Crimson
oh, well, that
Heads.
wasn't happening in the first game. Like maybe it was. Maybe you just didn't bump into Lisa in the first game, but she totally could have been there. Like she was wandering out in the forest. Like, so I think the other thing too that we haven't talked about is Advent Children. I think that which is interesting because I thought everyone just gobbled up all of that Final Fantasy VII Celebration stuff.
Nope.
But I guess a lot of people were. I thought Advent Children was awesome.
It is awesome.
I was not because it was where I wanted that story to go, because I'm not that connected to the story of 7, but it was entertaining as hell. And I think what people have to understand is them already doing that and already having these proofs of character in a 3D environment probably was one of the reasons why they were willing to fund a 7, because it's like, well, we've done that work already. That we can, maybe the character models look a little bit different, but it's like we don't have to totally start from scratch. We do have a visual idea of how we can jazz up these battles, and make it look cooler, because we've already done it. So everybody being like, oh, I would totally move away from 7. It's like then you're just lumping this huge budget on top of it, because they can't use any of that. They got to make everything look different.
Yeah, to Daniel Warren, to conclude, I would just say don't be scared. Don't worry. Like what Brandon said.
Yeah, be scared. It's coming out in 2018, but
or
don't be
worry
scared.
a lot.
My worst fear for Daniel Warren is that it's the same game. That this person can hop into the game like Brandon watching that movie and just plow through it knowing what's coming.
Because
that's my worst fear.
Honestly, all that produces is a comparison thread where it's like, this thing looks like this now. This thing looks like this now, and then you're done.
Yeah, well, boredom. It produces boredom, which is
exactly.
even scarier.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be bad and interesting than the same thing again.
Or predictable.
Yeah.
And there's no surprises ever.
Yeah.
Surely you want to be surprised in there somewhere.
But not to beat this to death, but that was what was so magical about that Resident Evil remake. It was both incredibly familiar, but there were so many surprises.
Yeah.
At the same time, it was doing both of those things at once throughout the entirety of the game.
That's the model.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay, we should move on to time for bets. Ooh, that sounds cool.
Wow.
That's like an NES explosion.
Somebody's playing Galaga or something. In
That was
background.
awesome.
Nice.
Somebody's phone.
Oh,
near Mike.
it's my phone because I'm using it for the stupid
yeah.
show this week. All right. Anyway,
Stupid phone.
stupid phone. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture will release on Tuesday. This was announced 3 years ago. It's from the Chinese Room, developers of Amnesia and Dear Esther.
Amnesia, Machine for Pigs.
Yes. Why is there another Amnesia?
Yeah.
Dr. Sen,
Yeah, the
first
first
one.
one.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Well, I don't know the difference.
The first one was the better one.
The
Oh,
good
so,
one.
so this
They
is the
made
bad
the
one?
bad one.
They made the bad one?
Yeah.
Why are people excited about this game?
Because Dear Esther is phenomenal.
Okay.
Dear Esther is cool, and this game looks cool. Yeah.
And very unusual.
Yeah, I'm sorry for being so
Do we know if
glib.
Jessica Curry did the soundtrack for this one too?
I'm
She did
pretty
both her
sure
other
she's
games.
on this. Yeah.
Oh, she's so good.
Yeah.
Ugh.
How long will the credits for this game be?
Yeah, I got my answer. Ian, I've seen people on social media being like, just heard the music for the game. Oh my god. You know,
Oh
Whoa.
man.
Okay.
So
Very
stoked.
excited.
Tuesday pre-order. It comes out this Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so excited.
So Ben, how long do you think the credits will be?
Kyle, this was a bet where I was like, I don't know.
Okay.
And I just wrote some stuff down. So if this is embarrassing, I apologize.
Oftentimes that will work.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Great.
I went with 11 minutes.
Whoa, those are some long credits,
Whoa.
Blood.
Wow.
That's like 3 songs.
Okay.
Should I feel scared being
I'm
so
so
far
wrong.
from blood, or should I be excited about that?
Be excited. Please be excited.
Minute 20.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
gonna wrap that up real quick.
I went with 1 minute and 32 seconds.
So I got the low vote. Okay.
So, Dear
It's
Esther
gonna be,
was.
It's gonna be 2:15, and Kyle's gonna win.
Dear
gonna
Esther
be
was. It was
6:30.
116 was Dear Esther, and then I
But
figured.
Dear Esther was just them, right?
Yeah, and so this one's actually being published by Sony. So there's going to be a lot of added names.
I won this bet.
Whoa. Okay. Well, let me lock that in before we.
Congratulations,
bet.
Ben.
I'm so confident that I won this bet.
This bet.
Yeah. I've
can
never
say-
felt this good about a GT time.
I can say that never works out. when
Yep.
you-
I hope
I won this
they
bet.
rolled by like when a movie plays on like a regular TV network, and they like go to the news. They're like, okay, in the 11 o'clock news, and then like in the corner, it just like goes like flying by. Like
the credits?
I wonder
Yeah.
if there's like a cap on that speed. They're like, you can play it at 6 times normal speed. You can't go 7 times.
Well, there
you know?
is, because like when TBS does
No,
reruns,
there's no-
absolutely.
There's no way you're reading that.
No, like,
I hope
there's-
it's like that. I hope they're just like.
Oh yeah, where it's like going so fast that it literally can't be read, even
Yeah.
if you watched it frame by frame.
But there's like a writing guild that says this is how fast you need to show the names of the people who worked on this project. Yeah, like there's like an actual agreement for that, which is
Oh, yeah,
insane.
sure.
Let's talk about last week's bet. Rare Replay released this week. What I did was I went to GameRankings.com and I looked for the 10 most recent reviews for this game, searching for the word value. Last week I bet I would see it 7 times. Brad in the super seat bet 12, Bloodworth bet 5, and Blair in your seat bet 13. Yeah. You don't feel good about that, huh?
Nah, that's a big number. I wouldn't have gone 13.
The number of times I saw the word value in 10 reviews is 13.
Nice.
13. Ian, should we give him like something special for getting it right on the number?
Him being me.
Give him a nice pat on the back.
Okay, well, an official pat on the
There
back.
you go.
I can't believe that. He got it exact. There was one review that said value 4 times. That really tipped it off. It was somebody like Peoples. It was like John Peoples.
I'm gonna give Blair a big hug when I,
I
get
can't
back
believe
there.
that.
Oh, I'm so happy.
13. So,
Things are looking up for
I
me.
was real upset about that 4-in-1. It was like all in like one paragraph too.
yeah, it was. Well, it wasn't all in one, but yeah, it
It was
was.
like
It was
2
nasty.
paragraphs,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really. I guess the value is at a big appeal
He's
of that
a regular. He's a regular Dan Brown.
game.
That's
That's like.
A lot of
The Da Vinci
repetitive.
Code joke.
Yeah, a lot of repetitive word usage.
It's,
in a
it's
Dan
almost
Brown
a highbrow.
So that's why I
insult.
love his books.
Let's go through. Yeah, I think actually repetition can be good in writing. I don't think it can be good in a review if you're using value
Oh my
4 times in a
God.
review.
But I base all my gaming purchases on value.
Oh God, you don't.
Value.
Value and content.
I'm reading
And experiences.
IQ 84 right now by Murakami, and this could be part of the translation.
This is a highbrow reference.
That's like
I
the most
this.
Ian
But-
Hank sentence I've ever
But
heard.
everyone
Yeah.
is knitting their brows all the time. Like he knit his brows, which is like
They use.
But
He uses
they use that
more than
phrase all the time.
Starting in book 4, George R. R. Martin did much and more. Just fell in love with some. He was at some party and some guy was like, "There's much and more to expect here tonight," and he was like, "Much and more," and it just like.
once. That's what sucks about brains is they're not even conscious of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Well,
in. You,
editors should be conscious
There was
of
one in
that.
the
You're
Dark
right.
Tower too that they used over and over again that I kind of liked, but it was like all the time. Now I can't remember.
I mean, if there's one character that said that, but that's not Game of Thrones.
Right,
They'll be
yeah.
like, they're like, meanwhile, in the King's Landing, and Cersei's like, much and more, and it's like a guy said that at the wall. No, you're done.
let's go to points though, because Brandon, you got a lot of points right now. Super Seats got 10. Bloodworth has 12. Brandon Jones now has 5 in a lightning bolt, just right behind me at 6 points. That's our totals right now.
Pretty soon, I'll be able to count my wins on both hands for the first time in the history of this show.
Right. Brandon Jones has long been a joke of the scoreboard, but now look at him with a lightning bolt even.
you could already do it where you do like
Oh, the lightning
5
bolt, yeah.
and like a,
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how everything. the Super Seat already has the next week's bet,
Yeah.
so
Sorry, Brandon.
It'll be a while till you catch up,
That's fine.
Brandon.
That's fine.
So, Brandon, what you win is the right to promote any show, your own Twitter handle and no one else's. This is the compromise we're coming to from last week's
Oh, okay.
deliberations.
Screw your Twitter handles.
Yep, and say goodbye to everybody.
Well, thanks everybody. Well, this is on behalf of Ben Moore and Daniel Bloodworth and Kyle Bossman and Ian Hank. I'm not telling you their handles, but I'll tell you their names at least. Thank you very much for watching. I invite you to watch our E3, I almost called it E3, our Gamescom coverage, which is up on our YouTube channel. You can go and check out all of our post reactions. We did a reaction to the first day to Microsoft.
The GT Reviews channel.
The
Yeah.
GT Reviews channel, youtube.com/GT Reviews. We did one after Microsoft. We did one after EA. Leading into Square Enix doing a thing and Call of Duty doing a thing, and then today we talked about Blizzard. And so you can be able to see all that, youtube.com/GT Reviews.
And it's extensive.
It's extremely extensive. I
Yeah.
think we got up to about 9 or 10 hours of coverage this week.
Yeah.
Which, certainly we would do more if we were actually in Germany, but it's like unless we can get, we didn't get hands-on a lot of stuff this week, and that's like the big differential that that's what launches a 30-minute No Man's Sky argument. But we covered Gamescom. It came and went. It's still running through the weekend. So check out our coverage. And thank you so much for watching. And
What is your own Twitter handle, though?
oh, my own Twitter handle is GameTrailersVO.
Okay.
It's quiet. Too quiet. It's my Kyle doesn't like it.
I love.